Now, the head of the schools inspector at Ofsted will take a personal lead, he says, in investigating claims of an Islamic takeover plot at 6 Birmingham schools. Sir Michael Wilshaw is due to visit the so-called Trojan Horse schools for himself to meet with inspectors directly involved in a series of reviews at each of the establishments. Adele Robinson has spoken to one of the school's governors.
Both governor and parent, with first-hand experience of a school being investigated over an alleged Islamist takeover plot.
Our classes, our lessons are completely secular.
This man would only speak to Sky News on condition of anonymity. Defending his Birmingham school, he says allegations of gender segregation and a curriculum tweaked towards Islamic ideologies are unfounded.
We've never really emphasised too much on certain subjects that are Islamic related, because the whole idea of the school is making sure it's secular and you're getting a balanced education.
His is one of 25 schools being investigated by the City Council and the Department for Education, and one of around 18 looked at by Ofsted. The inspection at his school, he claims, was biased.
The questioning was very inappropriate compared to a normal Ofsted, and it was given a predetermined judgment before Ofsted even walked in. They asked us on both occasions, if a child is gay, what would you do? About who leads prayers? Why do you have prayers? And it just continued, but it was more focused about religious purposes than how well the school was doing.
Head of Ofsted, Sir Michael Wilshaw, is due to visit Birmingham and take personal charge. It's expected that at least 6 schools will be rated inadequate and could have senior management removed. The allegations stem from an unsigned, undated letter claiming to set out a blueprint for hardline Muslims on how to seize control of schools under an operation termed Trojan Horse. It's not clear yet whether that letter is actually genuine, but some members of the Muslim community and some school governors say it's a fabrication and part of a witch hunt. Teaching unions also believe it's taking its toll on community relations and the wrong approach is being taken.
All we've had so far is a lot of speculation and then now numerous investigations. And I think those communities, the children, young people and the teachers and support staff deserve better.
The Ofsted results are due next month and the outcome of other investigations before the end of July. Meanwhile, tensions will remain in some communities until there are answers. Adele Robinson, Sky News, Birmingham.
As we heard there, Adele Robinson in Birmingham. We're going to get more on that story now. We're going to talk to the political and social commentator, Mo Ansar. Very good to talk to you, Mo. I mean, first of all, do you think a further investigation is needed about these allegations, given that they were anonymous originally?
Yeah, I think we see a worrying situation where anonymous allegations, which are clearly being done to smear, can end up escalating to the extent where you have a task force going into target schools in predominantly and a high proportion ethnic minority areas. I mean, Birmingham is, we've got 1 million people live in Birmingham, 25% of them are from the British Muslim community. I think if they feel that they are subject of unwarranted scrutiny or a witch hunt, I think that's got to be worrying.
I think it's bad for community relations.
I think it's clearly bad for community relations. I think that's why we've seen a soft pair of hands come in with Sir Michael Wilshaw, because I think he will be a bit more sensitive, and he knows Parkview School at the heart of some of these claims. I think having somebody who's worked on Counter Terrorism with Peter Clarke getting involved, who we know was part of the post-7/7 investigations, and formerly he was, I think, head of the Royal Guard for Princess Diana when she tragically died. I mean, and of course was embroiled in Hackgate. So there are questions about his involvement.
But if you think some of these practices, as say, the allegations are being investigated, but if some of them are going on, how far is too far in your book? How far should be allowed because of religious and cultural beliefs, and how far is too much of discriminating against girls or something like that?
I think we don't want to see any form of discrimination, any form of mistreatment, but we are an inclusive and a tolerant British society, I think. And this seems to go against the grain of what Michael Gove has been saying in recent times, because we want to see more free schools, we want to see more parental involvement. Now, hard-to-reach groups like ethnic minority parents, parents from Muslim traditions and backgrounds, often have quite a low involvement rate with schools. So I think we want to get the balance right, but I think developing this into some kind of hysteria or a witch hunt is not the right way to go. And I think also people are beginning to ask questions about the Secretary of State for Education's motivations going into schools.
But you've been into, I know you've been into an awful lot of schools, Mo. I mean, do you know any schools like this? I mean, where it's gone this far? Do you believe these allegations?
No, well, if the allegations hold water, they need to be looked at. I mean, I've been working in schools and education for about 10 years on select committees and in governance and directly with schools as well, and monitoring visits. I've never seen anything like this, but certainly I think what we have seen is that for the longest time, schools across the country have been failing on their public sector equality duty. We have schools that don't record the mix of their pupils, that don't record how diversity works in the schools, that often, and I think this was something which happened when probably we were at school, we had often what some ethnic minorities would call this sort of stealth Christianisation going on in schools, where you'd go to services, you'd sing hymns, you'd do the nativity, and there wasn't really much inclusivity. I think schools now need to be more inclusive, more plural and more accommodating of parental and student wishes.
And that leads us into another debate, which we're not going to have here, Mo Ansar, but after what the Prime Minister's had to say about Christianity. Yeah. Would be a very interesting discussion for another day. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Good to talk to you, Mo Ansar, there.